Mm.
But ours is one layer deeper, which is we wanted lifestyle photography to tell people that you can take your lifestyle photography here as well. So that's how we got a lot of brands to come and do their photo shoots here for their product photos, photo shoots, video shoots, and weddings. So it creates a new arm to your revenue intake and your lead generation.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Hideaway Show. Today, I'm joined by someone who has some of the coolest Airbnbs I've ever seen. His cabin in Running Springs, California was rated as one of the top Airbnbs of 2024 by Levi Kelly. He truly understands and believes in the power of creating an experience for each of his short-term rentals. I've got Chase Charifa joining us today. Chase, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Jordan. I appreciate it, man. I mean, thank you for all the kind words as well.
Absolutely. I do like to spend a little bit of time on the intro there. So I like to really, pump up the guests, but man, we've talked a few times back and forth, and some of the stories you told me about your properties and some of the things that you provide, it's just, it wows me, but it also elevates my motivation level to continue going out there and, providing unique and experience style properties to our guests. So you're setting the bar high. I'll say that.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm honored and I'm humbled I mean, you've got amazing properties as well. So coming from you is, it's a really great compliment.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we've been talking, a little bit back and forth, and to be honest with you, I've been looking forward to this conversation for a while now. And to be honest with you, I could start in a million different areas, but I think for the listeners today, I think it probably makes sense to bring it back to the beginning. How did this all get started? How did you get into this amazing niche of short term rentals and where you are today?
Sure. Yeah. So back in 2017, we purchased our first home. And to me, as an immigrant, a Filipino immigrant, and, nobody in my family has really owned property here in the US. It was already a dream come true just owning a home, let alone anything else beyond that. So I was just so grateful that that occurred and that kind of started our journey. Along with that, I was a loan officer as well. So I already spoke to a lot of people about homes and rental properties and such. And once we have stayed there a few years, we got our first taste of having our first rental, which all we did was move out, bought another house during 2020, and we did what's called a departing residence. So we left our primary home and we just started renting that out long term. It wasn't anything sexy or crazy, but it was our first taste that someone else was paying our mortgage. Well, after that, we started thinking about, okay, can we do a little bit more? I mean, during the pandemic, there was a lot of talks about van life, and I was like, wow, that's cool, and 100% bonus depreciation, all that fancy stuff. Anyway, when we went to the dealership, something hit me that the dealer said. I was like, yeah, no problem. You could totally finance this as a second home. I was like, second home. Then it just came all tumbling down because once he said second home, I'm like, this is not really a home. This is on wheels and it's totally going to depreciate after this sweetheart honeymoon time. So I said, we are not going to get a van. We are going to get a true second home. Let's just go get a cabin in the mountains or something like that. And to us here in SoCal, that's Big Bear. Right. And so we spent the end of 2020 into 2021, and we were like going every Saturday and Sunday. Let's go tour some homes. And we thought Big Bear was it because, we're trying to be smart and analytical. Yeah, Big Bear is what we're going to people search for. And then we ended up finding this sweet, sweet gem in Running Springs. I was like, what is Running Springs? Nobody even knows what Running Springs is, but we didn't care. We came when it had just lightly dusted of snow, and we did the tour, and I was like, wow, everything here needs some work. It's baby blue on the outside with a red deck. I was like, man, this is very patriotic, which I am, but it just was not, it did not have the vibes. But with the snow, with the trees, and as we walked in, this is the beginning of the experience that we want to share with others. And at first, it wasn't really with others. It was just mostly for us. It was like, hey, we just have a getaway in the mountains. And if we're not there, maybe we'll rent it and get a couple bucks here and there. And little did we know, it would do so well. And so that's what we call the Lightfoot Cabin.
So with that cabin, you had to fix it up a little bit. Did you guys do that work yourselves, or did you hire a team to do that for you?
We hired a team. Yeah, we hired a
Nice.
contractor to do it. Yeah. So we were just starting. We didn't really know how to do much. I mean, I could probably figure it out. I am a engineering background, but that's just analytical, nothing with application. So um we just wanted to make sure it was the vision that we wanted. And the funny thing is that first one wasn't really an investment per se. We did not do research on what amenities we needed or what. It was just for us. We put everything in there that we wanted. And it just so happened that everyone else liked it, and we are so grateful for that. But some of the radical things that we decided was, okay, well, this place is a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath. The permit told us, oh, you could do up to 7 people. Airbnb is all about beds with heads. And then I said, nah, you know, our thing is when we've traveled, I want to cater to a specific niche. We're gonna go with just a couple, and we're gonna go exorbitant, you know? And so we got the best bed that we could and the best sheets and all that. And so we're just gonna create a luxury stay because we want that anyway when we go. And so everyone already thought, oh, you're only gonna sleep two? That means you're not even gonna book it at all. Nobody's gonna go up there. I'm like, it's fine. And we're just gonna cater everything to that couple. We're gonna put robes in there, and we're gonna leave them some cider for birthdays, and we're gonna greet them with the sign and this and that. So, um, and then after that, it just started doing well, and we've got the attention of a few editors, and I think the biggest thing that hit us was when Condé Nast Traveler, we were featured on that, and then that just brought about a bunch of bookings and momentum. And up until today, people still, hey, we saw your article on Condé Nast, so we wanted to
Oh,
book it. I'm
really?
like, oh, great, yeah, uh huh.
That's crazy. That's so cool.
It's
So
yeah,
they're
it's
they're
amazing
still consuming it, and they're still yeah, it's still driving traffic and bookings to your cabin. That's incredible.
for sure. Yes.
So so I know Levi Kelly came across your
Mm.
guys' place, or was it that you guys reached out to him, or how did you guys become acquainted to where you were able to bring Levi Kelly out? Because I will say that is one of our goals is to eventually have Levi Kelly come out to one of our cabins. But how did that come
Mm.
about?
Well, it's a lot of hustle. It took almost a year, maybe. But what's funny with Levi Kelly is my wife and I would just lay in bed. And well, we used to travel a lot without the kids. We still travel now with the kids, actually. But we would watch his videos. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. One of the first videos I remember seeing it is he was doing these silos or something in, the Magnolia Farms or something. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And, my wife and I did a little bit of wedding videography at the time. So, he's using a gimbal and it looks all smooth and cool. We could totally do that. And then, I wish we could be more, let's try to be like Levi Kelly or something. But it was a funny turn of events to where, watching Levi Kelly, thinking that we were going to be like him. Instead, we created something that he came to, which is kind of a cool concept. So specifically to Levi Kelly, it was just, I was emailing him and he hadn't really responded. And I was like, oh, well, it's cool. And then we have this secret amenity at our home. I don't know if you want me to talk about it or not, but I'm cool with it. Initially, our secret amenity is that we would just leave the music on. And then when people walk in, they hear the music and they're like, where's that music coming from? And they naturally go and find the secret amenity. Right. And after a while, we were thinking, hey, wouldn't it be cool? Like, I love Batman and like that whole secret thing, or just, treasure hunts in general. So wouldn't it be cool if we had like a bookcase door or something, and it fit perfectly on the opening of the doorway? And then oh, what if we put a treasure hunt together to just make it even more? Because when we were dating, we used to give each other treasure hunts, and we love Amazing Race and such. And I was like, let's just put it all in. This was kind of our experiment. And then I did a video of my wife opening the bookcase door and then closing it and then disappearing. And then we sent it to Levi Kelly on IG. And then he reacted to it, goes, "Oh, that's so cool. That's in your cabin." I was like, "Yeah, we would love for you to come, and check out the whole thing. We have, for you to see the surprise, you'd have to come." And then he goes, "Okay, I'm intrigued." And then, it started up that way. And then we were DMing each other back and forth, um, just being active and commenting on his stuff on YouTube. And then I think he eventually said, "Hey, I'm coming to California. Are you guys available? I'll block out the whole month, bro. Whatever you need, whatever you need." And then he was like, "Yeah, I'll come at this time." I'm like, "Cool, okay, we'll do it." And then he just came through, and then it snowed the day he got here, so it was super magical, and we couldn't have asked for a more perfect time for him to come. And yeah, I mean, we obviously did something a little bit special for him, but it was mostly the same, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah,
I
that's
can reveal the secret amenity if you want to, or
hey, it's your secret amenity. I have no issue with you sharing it, but if you wanted people to go watch the YouTube video and find out for themselves, they could do that as well. So
yeah,
whatever works.
they could do that too. But I mean, um, uh, it's a movie theater. It's nothing, everyone in the Smokies or everyone else has it, but it's in the style of a dark green cognac, very like it actually maybe pulls some inspiration from like a bourbon cigar lounge. I love John Wick, so a little bit of that action in there, and we try to put in the best that we could. So it's a big 100-inch projection screen with a short throw 4K laser, which means the projector's not behind, it's right in front, and it just projects it up that way. So it feels very special. We added the popcorn and the candy to make it a full experience. And then it's that same sign here. It's called Silence is Golden. It's kind of a little bit blurred out, but it's our kind of like Fight Club thing. So we tell all the guests not to talk about it, but talk about it. So I said, don't post anything, but do a story, and it'll come to our stories and then disappear. So then people are asking, "I've seen something, but we don't really know." They don't mention it on the listing. And that's the biggest thing that we do is we don't actually advertise it. It's just people who book it get it. I know that's very unique. And like, why wouldn't you advertise your coolest thing? I was like, well, I feel like it's really special. And we wanted to give our guests who already book us without it something special. And then everyone just gets so excited about it. And they said, we are going to tell all our friends. And it's such a cool amenity. And they're kind of part of the Lightfoot Cool Club, I guess.
It's what I think's so special about that is the fact that you get people to agree to not talk about it like within the reviews or on stories to where they just hint at it. And I think that's probably one of the bigger draws and nice things about that secret amenity is if you can get people to spark curiosity, they're like, I wonder what that is. Then it
Hmm.
gets that emotion of like, well, I want to find out what that is. No one's talking about it, but I want to go figure out what that is. I assume you probably have a decent amount of people who like I'm sure there's some strategy behind don't talk about it, but just kind of hint at it, nudge at it a little bit.
Yes, but the toughest part is actually when someone asks us, "Do you have a TV?" And I'm like, "Oh, technically we don't." But I was like, "Just come and you'll see," So that was one of the things that I was, that's always tough to answer. I was like, "Man, you're going on a getaway, bro. Like you don't really need a TV," you
Hmm.
know. But I get it. I know we need it, but yeah, we just don't talk about it. We don't have a TV in our bedroom or in the living room. The only actual quote unquote TV is the cinema room.
And you haven't gotten any like negative marks or like bad feedback from everyone. Everyone's there. That's awesome. You get people that go there to just like unplug and relax, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and so I just thought, why would I get a couple of cheap TVs when you could have the best possible thing that I could buy, which is this, you know what I'm saying?
Hey guys, real quick, the only way we can continue to grow this show to bring on bigger and better guests is if you guys rate, review, and share the show. So, if you could take 2 seconds and leave us a quick 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, it would mean the world to us. But even better than that, we'll be able to reach more real estate investors and help them build out their dreams through unique short-term rentals. Now back to the show.
So there's Lightfoot Cabin, and that's in California. What
In
other?
California,
I know
yes.
you have, yeah, you have the A-frame in Arkansas, and
Yes.
is that the newest of the cabins?
Yes, Arkansas, it's called the Skyline A-frame. It's the newest of the cabins, and it's our first that we've built ground up.
Nice. And for that
Yes.
cabin, we have an A-frame as well, and I don't know what it is. Mike always talks about this. He's like, it's
Mhm.
something. I don't know if it's the shape, if people are just drawn to that. It looks different, but people love the A-frames. I don't know what it is about it. They just gawk over the A-frame. So how has that property been performing for you guys?
It's doing well. I mean, it was always our dream to buy an A-frame. I mean, we were looking in the Smokies for a long time and in California. We've actually made 5 offers in California and always beat out, just ridiculous numbers, over asking. And I was like, and we still have to renovate. I was like, forget it, bro. And then I found this opportunity in Arkansas and I walked the lot and it was, whoa, during the wintertime. And it was, I can see the lake and it's absolutely gorgeous. It's like a panoramic view. You know, if you're tired of the lake, then the rest of the 180 degrees is beautiful mountains and trees. We call it Skyline A-frame because it's literally at the top of a hill. And when you're on the boat on the lake looking up, it's the A-frame that you see in the skyline, which is super cool. So, um, when 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 I was there and I said, "Okay, well, I have to buy this plot." My wife was like, "Well, you don't even know how it's gonna do. There's no rentals around." I don't care. People are coming to this. It's an A-frame shoe. It's got views galore. I don't even care. It's gonna look sick. And then, by that time, we had already purchased multiple properties, so we wanted to stack on all the possible amenities that you kinda need to have, hot tub, a really nice deck, fire pit, modern design. We had a nice fresh color palette inside. We really upgraded the sheets and, we added a container swimming pool. So we wanted to have it all there so that, you know, we would have no competition, and so far we don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say your guys' A-frame is absolutely incredible. The
Thank
container
you.
pool, I've been wanting a container pool for so long, and how you guys did it. Now I'm not up on overlooking a lake, so you guys definitely have that advantage. But the container pool and I think you guys did a fantastic job with the photos as well. Yeah, the biggest thing is being able to capture that emotion when someone comes to potentially book your place, whether that be through Airbnb, VRBO, your direct booking site, or they find you on Instagram, right? They come across that you want to spark an emotion. I will say, like, when you see yours, it's like, it's one of those thumb stoppers where someone's go through and they're like, what was
Thank
that?
you.
So yeah, it's incredible. So with that being said, you're trying to curate an experience or emotion with your property, top tier photos. Out of everything that you've seen across the board with your Lightfoot cabin and your A-frame, what do you think's the most important thing that people should focus on with their property to achieve similar results to what you guys have seen with your properties?
Man, that's a loaded question. It's a lot. I mean, there's a lot to it. I mean, most important, I mean, obviously adding it helps to have a great location and great views and all of that. But even if you didn't, I think highlighting your amenities. I mean, okay, you don't even have to have anything. The best thing you could do, everyone could do it, is make sure that your top 5 photos are not the same, that they're the best photos and the best amenity you're showing off your best amenities. Because everyone thinks, "Oh, I should order all my photos the way that people are coming into the home, or I
Hmm.
should, exterior and then the front door and then the mat." No, don't do that. You should do the best 5 right away. People are so quick-minded, so the first swipes, it's like,
You're gonna say
yeah,
like
all of
Tinder or
that.
something like swipe left or right or something.
Yes, exactly. Swipe left or right, yeah. And, they get tired after a couple of swipes. So if your first 5 swipes, 4 swipes, I'm thinking in my head, I'm getting them, then that's it. You got it. Then they're gonna
Yep.
open up the rest of the photos. But if you're not getting them on the first 5 swipes, it's not there. So for example, for our, Lightfoot cabin, our first 5 swipes is our favorite shot, which is the front of the house because it kinda shows that it's a black cabin within the trees. It's got a cedar deck, there's a little bit of rocks. And my strategy there also is it it goes, about a month or two before the next season, we changed the front photo because we have different seasons of the front photo as the next season comes about. So, for example, if it's the summer, we put a fall photo because they're going to be booking on the booking lead time around then. And then if it's the fall, we put the winter snowy photo because they want to get their winter getaway. And in the winter, we put the spring or summer photo to do that. So that's our first one that changes all the time. The second one, we kind of do some lifestyle photos where there's this pretty girl or handsome man, using one of the amenities so that you can imagine yourself on there as well. And then just dynamic photos in the first 5, like our living room was shot by a famous influencer that does a very unique wide angle shot. So I use that. Surprisingly, the hot tub photo is mine. I shot it during twilight. And then the bedroom was also by that wide angle photographer, really showing the lifestyle aspect of it. Just little things like he opens up a book and puts like his backpack and puts the blanket down and gets the record out and puts a cup of water or iced tea. The fire is on, things like that. And just really staging the lifestyle aspect of it. So your first 5 photos is like, wow, I want to play the record or read a book there. That would be great.
Yeah, we talk about that all the time, and I love the fact that you guys utilize lifestyle photography. I think it's one of those things. I think people are starting to catch on to a little bit, but I think there's still some out there like, I don't know if I need it. There's still a good amount of people out there that are very much, I need real estate photography. It costs me $200. Get those photos, check the box. What do I got to do next, right? I think that's an investment in your property that you need to be willing to spend more than most people would be willing to spend. I think it pays dividends with the top tier photography, video content as well. But the lifestyle photography is so key because it allows the guests to envision themselves, like you're saying, pouring, a glass of water, sitting on the couch, enjoying the fire, in the hot tub, having breakfast, putting their backpack down. Like in their mind, they can visualize themselves there experiencing that, which then, gets them excited to potentially come and stay at your cabin. So I think there's a lot to be said about lifestyle photography. I think it's just going to continue growing in popularity.
That's actually only one aspect. That only leads to Airbnb bookings. That
Right.
wasn't our main goal for it, actually. I knew that it would help Airbnb for sure, but ours is one layer deeper, which is we wanted lifestyle photography to tell people that you can take your lifestyle photography here as well. So that's how we got a lot of brands to come and do their photo shoots here for their product photos, photo shoots, video shoots, and weddings. So it creates a new arm to your revenue intake and your lead generation. So
what you're saying is you're utilizing the lifestyle photography to attract brands to
Yes.
reach out to you to do lifestyle shots. So do they come across like your Airbnb listing? They come across your direct booking site? Like how do they come to find like, ooh, there's this cool cabin?
Airbnb, IG, and Peerspace and Gigster helps a lot.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so one of our main photos is of this influencer called Chelsea Kawhi, and she did a Hyundai Ionic commercial with our cabin.
Oh, that is incredible. Like,
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
That's so cool. So what was the last you said, like, was it Gigster?
Gigster.
Gigster. So what's Gigster? I'm not familiar with that.
Gigster is a per hour booking instead of per day. So we would charge anywhere between $250 an hour for a photo shoot or a movie.
Okay, that's so cool. So and you've gotten a good amount of traffic from your cabin on there for people coming out to. That's so. How does that work into your, like, let's say your calendar? So if you have if you have an open day, like you're willing to rent out hours that day, or how does that fit into your overall strategy?
Yeah, we have a 4-hour minimum, but most of the time they do an 8 or 10 hour. And then I usually give away a stay for, that night stay. But if I'm getting, if my ADR for the property is $400 to $500 on an Airbnb stay, but for a movie shoot, my ADR is $1,000 to $1,200, I'm going to do a photo shoot all day long.
Right. Yep.
You know what I mean?
And
especially I tell them to do it on a weekday. So I still could book the Airbnb on the weekend. And on the weekdays, there's photo shoots. It's all good.
That's so smart. But everyone talks about upsells. I don't think many people are talking about utilizing your property as an upsell itself to get people out there to shoot, you know, you know, certain brand photography at your cabin. That's so cool. That's absolutely
Hmm.
incredible. So, and how big of a bump do you know roughly? Has that like boosted your revenue by a certain percentage, or what? How, I guess, what percentage of revenue have you seen from the hourly?
I would say like 5 to 10%. It's not much
Okay,
more, but it's an additional amount that we
right.
didn't plan for. Just like whenever everyone uses Airbnb, then you do a direct booking website, and then you do VRBO, and then possibly Booking.com or all these other sites. Just use these per hour ones as well.
Yep. And do those integrate into your PMS at all, or is that done?
They don't. They just
They
do it
don't.
through calendar syncing, and then
Okay,
I just do it per request. They have to request it so that I could um, block it off on our PMS because
gotcha.
nobody's really doing it yet. So it's not. They haven't figured out how to integrate it because it's not popular enough to do it yet. So
Yep. Yeah. I think over time, I fully expect that's going to be something that could take off, especially as we always talk about the industry of short-term rentals is just continuing to professionalize. It's starting to, people
mhm.
are rising to the top. And if you want to be that top 10%, you have to go up and beyond to stand out, to where I wouldn't be surprised if those top 10% start increasing the demand for something like that, to where then those companies start looking to integrate with the different property management systems. So I think it's a matter of time. Is it this year? Probably not. Is it 2, 3 years? Potentially. But I think there's something to be said to where I never thought of it like that. I always thought lifestyle photography, it's like, attract that guest from an emotional standpoint when they come across your listing, or utilize it for organic social content, which I'm assuming you do the same then, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Very nice. So
Yes. We just wanted to go a step further. Like, how else can we use this? And then if you show the lifestyle photography on those sites, then other brands are going to say, oh, you know what? I want to shoot my stuff there. That looks pretty cool. So, we had a few brands already shoot there. A couple of t-shirt brands, men's clothing wear, and women's kind of like Ugg boots almost. All things like that. So the biggest or the best thing is probably in Louisville, we had a photo shoot with a realtor for her client appreciation. They used our site for Christmas photos for the family.
very cool.
And so anyone could do that. If you have a really pretty Airbnb, just advertise it for that. And a lot of realtors use it. It was great.
That's actually really, really smart. I'm gonna look into that more, because we don't, like I said, we don't do that for our cabins. We have a couple that I think could be potential candidates for that. So that's
Hmm.
very interesting. So, but Chase, I wanted to switch gears on you a little bit here, because it was a story that you and I talked about before we hopped on here. But you had mentioned this concept of buying a property with multiple Teslas. That's
Yeah.
not something you're seeing that people out there doing from a financing strategy with acquiring a property. But can you give us a little context and story behind that?
Yeah. It was a lot of, flash in the pan, just jumping on the opportunity when possible. But essentially, during the pandemic, we were thinking we wanted to buy a Tesla, and so we couldn't decide which one we wanted. So we just pre-ordered all of them. It was $100. So I was like, it's refundable. Why not? So yeah, we put them all in, and by the time we came for delivery, I thought, okay, which one are we choosing? Maybe we'll choose the Model X for the family. But when we saw them all, the prices had gone up because the chip shortage and all that. And so the price that I pre-ordered in was locked in, but the price that they're selling at the time was way higher. So I thought, if I take delivery and I sell it, even for the MSRP, we're making a good chunk of money. So then we took pre-orders of all of them, or took order deliveries of all of them, and then sold them all. And then we used that as a down payment for our next cabin in the Smokies.
So was it just like one day you had 10 Teslas just sitting outside of your house, and
No,
everyone's
it
like,
was
"Wow,
it
Chase really likes
wasn't
Teslas."
it wasn't that much. It was like three of them, but that was it. It wasn't that much. It was three Teslas.
Okay.
We just one came, we took delivery, we just gawked at it, drove it for like a couple days, and then sold it, and then took another one, drove it for a month, sold it. Same thing, just kind
Yeah.
of experiencing it. So I got to drive all of them, which was fun.
There you go. There you go. So then that you just utilize that money for down payment to get in on the property then, I assume?
Yes. Yeah, because at
Very
the
nice.
time it was still plausible to do a 10% down second home. So we wanted
Yep.
to take advantage of that. But now, it's a lot harder and harder to find that.
Yep. Yeah. So which cabin was that one for? Was that for
First, the Smoky Mountains, which, again, you know, you do well on one, and we probably a little bit overpaid for that one. And, we kind of rushed it because it was weird because, as a loan officer, we're commission based. So as soon as my commission drops, then they do a 2-year average, then I won't qualify for any more. So I thought the second home is going to disappear. I won't be able to buy a property and such and such. So funny enough, we just came from Sevierville refreshing that property, and we're really excited about how we refreshed it, because when we first got it, we just pretty much launched it, and it did fine. But we really need to find a way to differentiate ourselves, especially in the Smoky Mountains. There's a lot of really cool cabins, and we're not old and we're not brand new. We're kind of in the middle. So we had to do something to differentiate ourselves. But I think we hopefully did that.
right to allow it to elevate? So how does that property do then in the Smokies? Because obviously Smokies is like the short-term rental market of all markets, but
Right.
I mean, but everyone and their dog has a property there. So how does that property do then in that market? Is it still doing well?
I would say, well, I guess it's what you would define as well. I would say it does, average, and then, but I think with all these changes, I think it will do even better. So before we called it the Alabaster House, and it was a 3-bedroom, 3-bath. Its biggest calling card, I guess it's pretty secluded and easy to get to, and in a pretty good location. You can get to the national park within 5 minutes, which is pretty cool. And the drive-in is absolutely gorgeous. We only have like a little peekaboo mountain view. So we really had to work to figure out how to make this property stand out. So we kind of switched things up, and we added more accent walls, and rebranded it as the Moondance Cabin. And we added some of our, design touches in there, as well as, revamping the game room and adding a theater similar to Lightfoot Cabin, and adding a bunk room similar to our other place with like a little tent. We added a fire pit and string lights. So we added all the stacking and amenities. And then our calling card for that one, to make it different from all the others, is that we built a new deck, and we put a stargazing dome on the deck with
Oh,
a
wow.
telescope, and it's going to be incredible. So that's why it's called the Moondance Cabin, off of Van Morrison or Michael Bublé, where you're dancing underneath the stars type of thing.
That's so cool. So how long were you out there refreshing the cabin? Because that doesn't just take 2 days to do something like that.
Yeah, we were there for a week. It was rough,
wow.
man. The kids were just, mom and dad were just out every day and night. We're just working on the cabin. So we almost got it done. Here's the problem with refreshing. Some people have already booked us for what we've had, so we have to accommodate for what they want. So we had to work around that. So we couldn't finish everything we wanted until they were all done. And then from this point forward, December 1st, it will be fully Moondance Cabin. Yeah.
Very nice. That's awesome. So and you said something, and I loved it. You said we were stacking. I'm like, that's something we talk about all the time, is this concept of, with your properties, making sure you're stacking amenities, but you're stacking all the critical components, right? Top tier photography, an exceptional cabin. The design is on point. The amenities stand out, are differentiated. You just keep stacking these things, and that's what allows these properties to rise to the top, such as yours. That's why your properties do so well, because it's not, Chase didn't go out and buy a cabin in Running Springs, California, throw a couch, throw a bed in there and list it and cross his fingers that it was going to do well. No, he did the work up front, because what he knew was, I need the best photography. I need to showcase lifestyle photography, and little do you know, generate some revenue on the side from other brands coming out and shooting. But then also, the amenities and providing the experience, all of that together and maybe I'm speaking for you, so tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think that's why your properties do so well, and that's probably why they're so desirable, because they hit on all of those components, which for today's traveler is what most people are seeking.
Yeah, so we do, a lot of sometimes I talk to other hosts or people that I, mentor or things like that. We always have this rule of, location is everything, proximity to whatever the attractions are, and then views. That could probably be interchangeable. Next would be design and then amenities and obviously really good photography because most people already have figured out design. They could hire a designer and all that. But
Mhm.
for this property, Moondance Cabin, it was a good location. It wasn't great. It had an okay view. It wasn't great. And it was not an A-frame or anything. It's just a standard cabin. So we really had to stack a lot from what we've known. So we thought, hey, the theater is doing really well for Lightfoot Cabin. Let's add that. Huge TV and put movie posters in the back. We're going to add a popcorn, really comfy couch. And then at our other property in Branson, our game room is a hit. So we just took all this stuff from that game room, put it in here. And so it looks great. Put all the game room stuff in there, and people are going to love that. So that's another stack. And then again, at Grey Wolf in Branson, everyone rants and raves about our bunk room for the kids. So it's a really cool bunk room. And we put, this cute little tent and plush toy camping toys. So it feels like they're camping. And then we bought this because it's a moon and stars type of vibe. We've got this little moon man that projects out the Milky Way and the stars in the sky. So as they walk in, that's on. So it kind of already gets you excited. So that's another stack. Fire pit in the back. That's another stack with string lights. People want to be outside. And then the design. And then we're going to do the photography once we're all done with it. And even something as small as we put this, a sign like this that says Moondance Cabin, another stack. I might actually, thinking about it, might put a treasure hunt in there to where they find the dome, which is the last stack. Now a stargazing dome with, a telescope and an egg chair in there and comfy blankets and pillows and, astronomy books and,
That's
and
that's
all that.
incredible.
And
That's
and
so
we
cool.
we just wanted to stack it all as much as we possibly could, and I think it should do well.
Yeah. I think that's the power of, like, as you just continue to get the reps under your belt, right? As you
Yes.
learn what's working, like, it's not to say you can't come right out the gates and do something like that, but I could tell you from my experience with our first property, my wife's a designer for a custom home builder. And why I didn't listen to this, I don't know. But she wanted to do some like bold accent walls and some wallpapers and all this stuff. I'm like, no, 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 no,
Yes.
no. No, we don't want to do that. We just want to furnish this to make it look nice. And like, we don't want to go bold. Like it's a
Yeah.
beach house, make it look like a beach house. Well, the problem with that is there's 1,000 other properties in that market that also look just like a beach house. So guess what
Right.
happens to our property? It blends in. So it's one of those things as you learn as you just go through it. And we have, went from where we were then to where we are now is, exceptionally higher because we've learned along the way what converts, what gets people to book. And then also an area that I think a lot of people don't focus on is social media, which that's its
Mhm.
whole nother beast. But we have seen a significant bump in reservations and overall revenue from organic social media.
I agree. Yes, we
So
social media has been huge for us. We got a couple local influencers here in California that has really also bolstered our bookings as well.
yeah. Do you guys still do the social media management yourself, or do you outsource that?
Still ourselves, but I think
Yeah.
that is something that we're looking to outsource as soon as we're done with some of these things. But yeah, that's definitely on our list.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those where when it starts to, like, at first, it's not very cumbersome. It's very simple post. They get a few comments, a few views, people liking it. But I will say I have to shut off notifications on my phone because when we've had reels and videos take off of people booking, which that's another thing I'll say with organic social.
Mhm.
You put the link in the bio all day long. Some people just don't know to click on the link in bio. We'll
Yeah.
get hundreds of comments of people saying, "How do I book? How do I book this cabin?" Which is exciting, but it's very like just the link in the bio. But Well, we like the engagement, so we'll reply back to them and send them a DM, and then it boosts engagement on the video, which
Mm,
brings more people in. So social media, I think, is huge. It's something that I talk about a lot as it's an
definitely.
untapped area within short-term rentals. If you can do it right, I will say, just getting your phone out and taking a few photos and videos isn't going to move the needle. But if you utilize content creators and people who know what they're doing behind a camera and behind a lens, that's when you can really start to see a monetary gain from organic social.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just following what is kind of the trends that's happening at the time. That really helps a ton.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So Chase, I know you're working on many things. You're a busy man. So what's next? What's on the horizon for you guys?
So I think what we've focused on now, as we've discovered, our niche, is that we want to just continue in development. I think, we want to run towards what people are afraid of, and it feels like I don't want to be where everyone else is at. I don't want to compete where everyone else is at, which is buying property, overbidding. There's no end game there. I don't have unlimited money. I don't have, that's not a muscle that I could flex. A muscle that I can flex is something that people don't know or people are afraid to do, which is fine by me, and I'll keep going in that, and I'll continue to pick up plots of land and keep building unique stays while everyone overpays for it. I'll keep building and they could buy it from me, you know? So that's what's next for us. Specifically, we are actually launching next week a new couples A-frame in the Smoky Mountains. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, so it just passed final inspection, and it's furnishing next week, and we're having a photographer out next week and getting all that done. And yeah, we'll be launching that, and then we're also going back and forth with the builder and the lender on another build in right underneath our Skyline A-frame. So that will also have a container pool, and that might also have a stargazing dome. We're just gonna stack it all,
Yep.
on
Yep.
top. Yeah, so that'll have a really nice, beautiful design by the lake with a dome, with a pool, and with a hot tub and all that good stuff. So
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm very interested to hear how the A-frame does, because I see that as almost a unique build in a mature market, to where I'm thinking if you can tap into the best of both worlds with a unique property in a market that already has high demand of guests coming there, I'd
sure.
be very curious to see how that property does. So
Oh, the one, yeah, it's only a one bedroom A-frame, so it's
but
pretty popular in
still,
Gatlinburg. So
yeah, we've seen our tiny cabins have done actually the best out of a lot of our properties, because it's this spontaneous, like, come across social media or scrolling through Airbnb and they find it. And a 1-1 is a lot easier to, tap your spouse or significant other on the shoulder and be like, we should go stay here and experience this, versus a 5-bedroom
definitely,
cabin where it's like, okay, we gotta, wrangle the troops to coordinate dates and get people out there. So we've seen a lot of success with the smaller to mid-sized cabins and getting people out there. So that's cool.
yeah, I agree.
Very cool. So, well, Chase, we finish off every podcast episode here in the Hideaway Show with 2 questions. So,
Sure.
the first one, I hope you read books. If not, this one will be awkward. I'm just kidding. So, what book do you recommend to the listeners that has had a significant impact on your journey and professional career?
Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm just kidding. That would be hilarious.
No,
No, let's be different. Let's be different.
there we go.
I got this. I got this. It's gonna be different. I hope nobody's ever given you this book before. If nobody did, I'd be so proud. Okay, the book that I recommend is Blue Ocean Strategy.
That's a first. I've
Let's
never
go.
heard of
Let's
that.
let's go.
So what is Blue Ocean Strategy about?
Blue Ocean Strategy is kind of what we are employing now. So that's at the heart of everything that we do. So Blue Ocean Strategy, essentially, what it analyzes different companies as they go about how to come up with a better way of doing business and doing better. So the difference is that in a red ocean, it's kind of like where sharks are at, right? A red ocean, all the sharks are coming and getting it. And so everyone's going there and you're competing for one little piece of whatever fell in the ocean. It's red. Everyone's in the red ocean. Everyone's doing the same thing. Either you go faster or you spend more or you're bigger. But that's nothingness. But while everyone's over here, I'm going to go over here and build. That's my blue ocean. It's clear. There's nobody there. So I'm taking it all. So that's what blue ocean strategy is. I recommend the read. It's great. It does an analysis on a lot of other companies, which is super cool. They just look at data and analytics and they say, I think it was a wine company they were going with, where most wine companies were rich and pompous and unapproachable. And so there's this company, I forgot what the name of it is, but it had animals on it. They went a different route. They're going to go a little bit less expensive, but make it, fun and then approachable to everyone. And then they killed it.
Dang, that's incredible. So I just want to acknowledge the fact that, we asked the question about what book, do you recommend? That's a selfish question for me, because I'm just looking to grow my inventory of books. So that's one that I can add to the queue. So I appreciate it. I got about I don't know, 10 or so back here that are in my, stash of still need to read that one, still need to read that one. But it's one of those, it's like, I'll just buy it and then just add to the list and just, we'll get around to it. So
I'm telling you, this one, I hope that it'll change a lot. It's changed a lot for me. I could recommend other ones. Have you heard of Todd Duncan?
the name sounds familiar, but
He's a very big mortgage guy. So I'm a
okay.
mortgage guy. So Todd Duncan's sales strategy stuff. Some of it could be repetitive, but at the core, it's pretty good, especially at creating new relationships and things like that. So I would say that one's a good one too. Any of his high trust stuff, but Blue Ocean is kind of my favorite, man. I mean, I don't know if anything could beat it right now. I know Rich Dad Poor Dad is a big thing. I read that too. Everyone kind of reads all the same ones, but I haven't really seen people read this one. And I feel it's so applicable to our state. For example, like what I said, everyone just uses Airbnb and they do real estate photos. That's fine. I'll do lifestyle photos because nobody's doing that. Everyone's doing Airbnb per night. Well, I'm going to go hourly and I'm going to go to Peerspace or Gigster. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's attacking weddings. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so smart, and where you're reaping the benefit of this, because too many people are afraid to go that route to versus you're jumping in with 2 feet and going head on to it. So I absolutely love that. So Blue Ocean strategy, or Blue Ocean, that's gonna rise to the top of my read list, because Chase is recommending it. Man, I gotta keep pace with Chase.
No, man. I mean, you guys are you guys are no joke. You guys are amazing. So it's not I'm very humbled by all your kind words.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chase. So last question I have here for you today. What is one thing that you know now that you really wish you knew when you were 20 years old?
Oh man, I wasn't prepared for that. Shoot. That was a while ago. Dang it. When I was 20? Come on.
That was just like 1 year ago, Chase. Come on.
Yeah, right. Shoot. That's like a whole other teenager ago. Dude, it was completely different, man. I mean, at 20, I thought I still had a chance at making the G League or something like that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be a baller overseas. Let's go. I wasn't even thinking about real estate. I was barely dating my wife. And then I was thinking seriously, I thought I was going to be in some, semi-professional basketball, that I was pursuing it. It didn't happen.
Did you play college basketball?
No, that I had a tryout, but there was a fork in the road, and I was like, how far is this really gonna go for a 5'9" Filipino dude? I can't dunk, you know what I mean? And I was like, I think engineer is a better way to go, so I'm gonna go that way.
There you go.
So I would say for myself, my advice would be, I don't know, just maybe buy a house earlier. I don't know. I wish I would have
get
bought
into real estate earlier.
For real, yeah. I mean, get into real estate earlier, invest earlier. I hate this. I hate saying it, but it was when you're young, you're trying to get the vibes, and you think the vibes is, in shoes or playing ball or going out or trying to get a cool car. Man, I mean, I got the oldest car. I wear the same shoes every day, you know, now, but I used to collect shoes, but now I collect houses. So I guess that's what it is.
Hey, there you go. You got to start out somewhere. Start off with shoes, get to houses. So it's
Yeah.
I always tell people, I've talked to a few people that are interested in getting into real estate and they're 20, 21 years old. I'm like, you don't realize if you are seriously passionate about this and you do want to go in, how further along you are. Like, I could only imagine, that would have been what, 12 years ago for me. Like 12 years, if I would have been doing this for 12 years, I could only imagine where I am, where I would be
That's
today. Like
that's 18 for me.
I'm just a little boy.
Oh man.
Dude,
Yeah, no, I
it's
agree, man. I mean, I wish, like, even if I would have told myself, hey, go buy in Cincinnati or Ohio or Michigan or Minnesota or Georgia for 100,000, scrimp up anything to go buy it. And then with your experience, let it roll, let it roll. And man, I mean, it would have been crazy. Yeah. So I would say if you're starting out real estate, just don't be afraid, do your research and go for it.
Yeah, love that. And it's one of those, like, sure, we could have started when we were 20, but we started now. So it's like look forward, and I think you're heading down the right path, Chase. I think big things are coming for you in the future. So I'm excited to hear what you got coming down the pipeline and watch you grow. So
Sure. I hope we could get something in the gorge. That'd be cool.
hey, I wouldn't be opposed. I know Mike would be all on board. So we got a lot of big ideas out in the gorge. So we should sit down and
Yeah, we
talk
can
sometime.
collaborate. Yeah, that'd be cool. We could collaborate and do something nice.
That'd be cool. So, well, perfect. Well, that does it. Another episode of the Hideaway Show. I'm Jordan Holmes. He's Chase Charifa. Until next time, take care, everyone.